Going live. Cue music. And hello, everyone. I'm Dan Lutz, and I'm here on the front lines in the battle against the deep state, the cabal, the Illuminonkeys, and all those that wish to enslave all of humanity for their own selfish reasons. Well, we're here on another day. It's been so busy, so many things going on. Uh, the different front lines that we see popping up all over the place. It's amazing. A lot of good things, a lot of bad things. Mostly, and the reality is it's a lot of good things, and we will go ahead and cover some of those. I do want to say that we have had quite a journey over the last, I was to say, a year and a half, where we're really looking to how do we bring everything that we've been striving for is really a better world, one without the deep state, one where we're past all of this trying to keep us suppressed. Our genius, our life, our creativity, our abilities to go out and weave reality. This is what they've been suppressing. Of course, they suppressed technologies for energy and medical and food production. They have done everything they could to push our mental focus on things that were unsolvable problems. All right, they present them as a no-win solution, so everything's no-win, and in order to destroy hope. We've done so much in spite of all of this opposition that they've pushed at us. We've just pushed right through it. Now, we identified this con job 19 from the very beginning, that it was not what they said it was. We can argue about, whether it was a bioweapon or whether it was a fear-based weapon, or was it an economic weapon, or just solely part of the insurance policy to get rid of Trump. And may I say that again, part of the insurance policy to get rid of Trump. Because they knew that Trump just didn't waltz in. They knew that he had help. Yes, God is on his side. It's his Cyrus. We can all make those statements, but what we do know for certain is that the military, through Qanon, has shown us is that they were backing him. And that we know, if we have that perspective, that they, the deep state, know that the military backed Trump, how are they going to get rid of him? The insurance policy just being Russian collusion? No. They had to basically create a whole dynamic to make sure, taking the plans that they still wanted to move forward with, and present them in a way that, well, by the time, if they weren't able to get rid of him by impeachment or whatever, that they set him up for failure, right? That the economy would collapse, that there would be all of this mayhem going on from the rioting, and that they would be able to substitute mail-in ballots so that no one had to leave their home. That's why they wanted to keep everyone at home, so they could literally play with the numbers on the votes. They know that the people were going to now have a chance. So they took this plan that they had to destroy the world and said, we have to now make sure we tailor this to get rid of Trump out of the next election cycle. Part of the insurance policy. Okay, so let's dive in here a little bit. We're gonna go over quite a lot here, and we probably won't get to everything. First off, before we get into that, let's also look at what's been going on with Parler. So let me bring this over, line this up. So again, Parler is a substitute for Twitter. This is my Parler account. I heard Dan Bongino today say that he's just crossed 200,000 followers in Parler. Parler is no joke. Parler is free speech. I'm not censoring things. If I say that there's, certain things that I can't say without having the videos disappear off of YouTube, but I can say it here, right? Like this right here, this area, So my numbers are now up to 39 followers. So yesterday was 33. So we're gaining, and I'm following up to 95. So there is a lot to be said about coming over here and supporting this alternative media, because I can assure you that they're not going to allow us to continue to be on YouTube and Twitter. They're going to take these down before the election. I'm confident of it. So, well, don't be surprised if these things just disappear on us. So I'm gonna realign this so we can. I'm gonna go side by side here. All right. Boom. Okay. First of all, we've seen a lot of images like this. Fire, smoke are off in the distance, and we can see the rioting that has been going on. And we had Trump come out and condemn it, right? He said a lot of things. I think this is the one I want to, yeah, this one. So this is his video where he's basically slamming this, and he's calling for basically the governors to shut this all down, right, and to use the National Guard. He's telling them, it's your responsibility, you got to do it. If you don't do it, he's going to do it. So he is saying that, you just can't let them burn down everything and say, oh, let them run off their steam and all that. That's baloney. These are people's businesses. A lot of this is about making people destitute, so that people have no choice but to turn to the government for everything. That's part of the plan. So, anyway, we're gonna listen to the last minute here, because it leads into when I saw this, the very end of this, it leads to a question, and we'll cover that as soon as he's done. So, just a minute.
America is founded upon the rule of law. It is the foundation of our prosperity, our freedom, and our very way of life. But where there is no law, there is no opportunity. Where there is no justice, there is no liberty. Where there is no safety, there is no future. We must never give in to anger or hatred. If malice or violence reigns, then none of us is free. I take these actions today with firm resolve and with a true and passionate love for our country. By far, our greatest days lie ahead. Thank you very much. And now I'm going to pay my respects to a very, very special place. Thank you very much.
Wow. What would he say there in the end? He's going to go and pay his respects to a very, very special place. Now, that left the question in my mind, where is he going? And I didn't know until much later, and I get these stories. So let's tune this back a little bit.
And looks like they're making their way perhaps towards that Lafayette Church. I'm not sure. He mentioned at the end of his speech that he would be going someplace special. Now you can see him, that's Donald Trump on the streets where the protesters were just having their encounters with police, where that tear gas was just falling, and now he's got a huge security entourage. This is highly unusual for a president to do this. So given the circumstances of Washington, D.C. right now, but as you can see him, just behind him there, the police are lined up. The only people in there are journalists right now, and there may be opportunity for you, Amelia, to make your way back there, depending on whether or not you can access that particular part of the White House, or maybe there's a White House press as well. We know security's pretty tight around there, but this is a U.S. president who's made his way out of the White House precinct and is making his way what looks towards a particular building. We just don't know yet at this point.
Well, you gotta wonder. I mean, this is sending a very strong message, I reckon. This is Donald Trump telling people that, you know, he will not be defied. But we did hear last night that there was a church nearby that was set fire to. It is a church where presidents have prayed over many, many years, going back to Lincoln. And, I mean, we don't know if that's where it was walking towards, but, you know, having heard mention of that and him saying this afternoon, Washington, D.C. time, heading somewhere important, I wonder if that's what's happening.
It looks that way.
So that is Australian news channel, right? Giving some live report of what's going on in Washington, D.C. That was pretty straightforward, right? And thank you, 9 News Australia, for showing this, right? Why did Trump take this walk? Why did he go here? Right? There's a lot of questions. Like, well, one, you see that the news media was painting a picture that Trump was cowering in the White House basement and in the secure room. They took him away to the woodshed, is what they called it. And they were trying to say that he was, he's cowardly. And so I was listening to Dan Bongino, and that's how I knew about this. Was that Dan Bongino said that as a Secret Service and being responsible for this, the president doesn't say. It's the Secret Service that says we're taking you and we're putting you into safety. So he went there at a particular time because the Secret Service brought him there. But the news is so fake. It's so fake. It's so fake that it's unbelievable. So now we're going to do a comparison with what we just had here with 9 News Australia and their excellent job. And let's go look to CNN. We have Jim Acosta here and Anderson Cooper. Now I have this, it's right near the bit, around 20 seconds in, and we're going to just listen to them. But interesting thing, just listen to both of them stumble over who can say this talking points first. Who's going to get out the talking points? A little competition maybe between the two. I mean, they have to get out those CIA talking points. So let's have a listen.
Mark Wart was saying, we've had this discussion over the last couple of hours of the president potentially using the Insurrection Act of 1807 to help quell a domestic disturbance. That's not what occurred here. They were used to create a photo opportunity.
Yeah, Jim, and the photo opportunity.
Photo opportunity. I said it. A photo opportunity.
Got there. This thing was so badly thought out.
This was hand-handed, no question about it. This was bad reality television. This wasn't even good reality television. And the sad state of affairs that we're dealing with tonight in the nation's capital, Anders.
Really, the sad state of affairs is listening to these two fools. Really. That is what the sad state of affairs is. This news is so fake. It's really, it really goes to show that they'll take anything and spin it. Anything. Anything positive, they'll spin it. He went across there to basically say, number one, he can walk the streets. It's safe. Right? Yes, I know the Secret Service are protecting him, but he was making a gesture. He was making a symbolic gesture of walking across the streets and basically saying that he is going to deal with it. He just gave a speech about dealing with this in a very tough way. So, but these fools, they'll spin anything. So let's look over here, and just as kind of an example, this is outside CNN headquarters. All right. So we're going to watch what's happening to them. Now, you might say, oh, great, they get what they deserve. But let's just watch.
People are tearing down their own communities. Look, this is CNN headquarters.
These police officers now are advancing. They're grouped together.
Look, this is CNN.
So, sorry. This is someone else's, there's Maximum Liberty. He's got 419 subscribers. He definitely deserves to be subscribed to. He is a great video here, put it together well. So let's go ahead and listen to what he has to say. But see how they're all grouped together here, right? They're protecting the building, right, against the people, right? That's what they're talking about here, right? As the people are in a mob, right? They're ready for the onslaught. So let's watch.
CNN headquarters. You can see CNN right there. You can see that this CNN was one of these places that got hit. And at first I said, finally, they got the correct target. You know what, though? This is like the person who organizes, like a mafia guy, who organizes a shooting, but then they make sure that they get hit too. Or a murderer that cuts his own arm and says, look, I got cut too. Oh yeah, sure, CNN, you're just a victim, right? You know what? Something very strange going on here, guys. I have a very bizarre video here.
As those objects continue away from the demonstrators. Go ahead, Chris.
Nick, are the cops that are inside?
Look, there's some guy. They make it look like there's an armed confrontation between authority and the people. And then some fully armed guy. It looks like he's got an AR-15 even on. Walks by the camera.
Inside the CNN Center, the only cops that are there, or are there more cops on the backside of this crowd?
Yeah, and then the guy says, what about the guy? He's like, what about the cops that are inside? It's something so strange that I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts, what you think about this.
So, again, it's a staged event. Staged. They staged it. That's all that they do is stage things. Yeah, let's take a look over at QAnon. Look at this. So, this is breaking news on MSNBC, right? Or MSNB, yeah, okay, just look at G almost, but so look at the two images, right? And in this video, this live shoot of video, what they're showing is that this actually is the same footage. The problem is that the bottom footage is from a movie. They just get any kind of B-roll footage that they can throw up that's going to basically make their narrative. Also, in the little corner over here, let's see if we can zoom in here. If I can zoom in over there. It says, bad scooter, not real. Well, the question is, maybe the guy that's making the images and is kind of like, these guys are making another fake film, right? They're trying to convince the people the narrative that the city's burning, and he's just going to put this up there on the top just to say, I'm just going to tell the people what's really going on here. This is not real. All right. Confirm fake image. So this was a fake image. Well, we're not going to really go through the Q posts here, but this one, think about it logically. The only way is the military fully controlled, save and spread once 11.3 verifies the first marker. So 11.3 meaning after the election, right? Then that's all of this is about the election. The con job 19, that's all about the election, right? The everything about staying at home, it's all about that. Wearing masks is just to create fear, so you stay at home. What I showed yesterday, the Humvee going down the street with the police were all wearing black, falling behind, shooting someone with a paintball gun or rubber bullets that was just on their porch telling them to get inside. It's about creating fear. So this is how CNN would report this right here, because they're so twisted. Now I have the audio turned off of this, but we're going to go ahead and watch this white guy assault this black guy. So here he goes. He's running after him, right? And now he's going to get to him. And now he's tackling him. He's basically trying to take him over. And the black guy's hungry. He's pointing. He needs some food. And he says, "Oh, you mean this food? This food right here? Nah, you can't have any." Ha 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 ha! And runs away with it. And he says, "Please, please, please." And then the white guy starts chasing after the black guy. That's CNN reporting this. So let's do a replay without my CNN commentary.
My friend, you are just adorable.
He can't open the box. He says, maybe we can get some adult to open it up. Better commentary. Now, these kids didn't see any color. Really. All right. Let's go on. Let's go on to this one. This is another CNN report. This white cop assaults this black man, trying to wrestle him to the ground, right? Take anything into it. So let's see exactly what is actually going on here. FreeHugProject.tv.
It's not even like that. It's not even like that. It's about staying neutral. That's what's important. That's what's important. So I'm gonna put the nigga these motherfuckers up there. What's that? He killed somebody? Did he kill somebody? Nigga, that fucking squad did that shit. Get out my motherfucking back. I see them absolutely. Just like I see everybody on this side of TV. We're all human. This uniform doesn't make you a robot. Just like your uniform, your skin color doesn't make you a criminal.
Excellent. Well, as I said, CNN would just flip this around. I don't think they'd cover it. So let's move on here. So we have a lot of positive imagery that is coming out, all right, to show what really is going on, and this is also amazing. This is on every Dan Day Fitness. What's more powerful, this type of imagery, or those people dancing in the streets with fires and throwing things and beating people? What's more powerful? Does this seem more like solidarity, or does the other one with random chaos? Obviously, this one has more power to it. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd. George Floyd.
Hey, there's 3 picnic tables up here.
There's some picnic tables over here. Come and have a picnic. And people helping people, right? People turned out. Bring a broom. People helping people. This is what it's all about.
We can't forget, on all our police cars across the nation, it says protect and serve. Protect and serve. That means all people. That means all people deserve the same dignity, and you can't call out what's wrong and try to make it right. And that's the magic we saw tonight. I mean, marched, not 1 ounce of damage. Nobody's arrested. Nobody got hurt. This is what I'm supposed to do.
Please remember, but those can wait.
Okay, well, see, that type of imagery is really what we need to see. Here's some more positive images. Peaceful Floyd protesters form a human barricade.
We are solving. We are solving shit tonight. We are making a point tonight. Tonight, you know what the point is? You know what the point is? You know what the point is? The point is, we are here right now to show these motherfuckers.
So there, he's basically trying to make the argument that that they're killers, right? And he's basically taking that line, right? So they have to strike out against these people. Now, you strike against the people that did something wrong. You don't go after the people that didn't do anything wrong. This is about rule of law. We need the rule of law so that we can remain civil, to have a civilization. And we have the best civilization that was ever came about, based in freedom and individual people being able to go ahead and create their own, weave their own reality. This is the one thing they want to take away from us, and that is rule of law. I can tell you, living in other countries like the Philippines here, it's tailored after American system, right? It's not quite that, but they didn't go through the same struggle, but they've been under a form of more heavy, I say, deep state here, based around the wealth being held by just a very few here, and what they would call the middle class is very small, and it's very hard for the people to really understand about getting the freedom. It's so hard to put into words. I'll give you an example. This is something that happens, is also a problem in America now, is when you want to create a business, right? And it's something brand new. And since I've been in technology my whole life, everything is new. Everything that comes out of technology is new because it hasn't existed before. And what comes out of that is a way of making life better. There's prosperity. In the past, what would happen is that industry that formed would self-regulate. Wouldn't wait for the government to come in and create rules. it would self-regulate. One thing I like to, as an example, I say electricians. I'm an electrical engineer, electronic engineer. So electricians, for example, they formed what is the right way to basically put in certain size wire and what it needed to be, what is the specs on it, right? They defined that. It wasn't a politician coming up and say, hey, we're going to put regulations on you. No, they self-regulated. And the government follows behind, decades behind, and then tries to basically say, okay, you guys set the standard, we're now going to like follow you up with law, right? So what I'm trying to say is that the basis of being able to be creative and free is that you get to go out and create something that didn't exist before. And you do it for the benefit of everyone, right? But you also do it firstly for yourself, right? Your self-interest. If you, and that's what is the natural thing. So when I go and form a new business or a new idea, I didn't first think, let me go get permission from the government to do this, and is it okay? First of all, it's new, never existed before. How would the government ever would have been able to do it, to basically give you permission to do something? And now it says, well, you have to have permission to do any kind of business. Well, why is that? Why do you have to have a license? A license is for something, permission to do something that would otherwise be illegal. So what's illegal about something new that never existed before? So this is one of the things I'm saying is like around the world where I've been, whether it was in India or the Philippines or even like Sri Lanka or Laos, what I saw was that the people normally said, well, I don't know if we can do this. We have to get permission first. So that subtle difference in the world as I see it makes a very big difference. So this ability for us to go out and create something, right, allows us to go ahead and make a reality, weave our reality. And then we have the government come in and firm that up after the people who know all about it have basically set the stage. It's not the other way around. So it takes a long time to do that. So, but once it's been put into law, that sets a firm foundation to make it go wide for everybody. That's the idea. And we lose that when we lose the rule of law. So this is a unique thing about America that I think that is lost, to a lot of people that are in America. It is our ability to pursue happiness, which is to weave our reality, to go out and create. Okay, so. Here, these people, go back to this, these people are making a line, a human barricade against those people that want to harm the police, which is the correct way to go. We don't need to go out and fight the police. We need to hug the police. All right, well, let's continue on here. This one is amusing. a tweet from Judas Ledeen. At POTUS. When you think you heard it all, Antifa is now protesting Soros for non-payment. Huge gatherings of Antifa screaming, George Soros, we're out of money. No more protests, no more resistance. All right, this is definitely worth watching, right? Oh. interesting. They're using their right to protest. Well, this got me to think. Has the well run dry? Has their money supply been stopped? Now, we know also that they were using Bitcoin, for example, to pay these people, right? Because it's outside of the banking system, right? So the good and the bad of that is that it is outside the banking system, right? I find it good because the banks are not a place where I want to participate. I've suffered so much against from the banks, dealing with banks. I mean, it is not. They are not for the businessman. They're not for the individual. They're there to basically suck up your money. So I was very thankful for being able to use Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. But they don't have any. Apparently, they're not getting paid. Now, I wouldn't say that they're would stop unless they paying them, unless they were if they were being successful, they would continue to be paid. But it looks like it's probably already over. It looks like they're not going to get paid. All right, let's move forward. Now, I did bring this up the other day and place, but this is still circulating, and this guy is so impassioned. It's worth listening to him again.
The Cincinnati police. This is not Minneapolis police, and what they're doing is just absolutely horrendous. As a member of city council, this is my first time ever seeing something like this. When this first happened in 2001, I was only 17 years old, right? I can't understand for the life of me what is going on right now in the city of Cincinnati. And I'm going to be here until these folks and other folks are protected. Let me tell you something. There are people down here who are encouraging 14-year-old kids. These babies are 14 years old, man, and they're encouraging them to throw bottles at these cops. And these grown people are encouraging our babies to fight. This is not the fight. And I will give a how mad or angry you are with what's happening with the police. But these 15-year-old kids have nothing to do with this, man. And these cops, black cops, white cops, or whatever like that, they did not do anything. And I'm not here to take one side or the other, but what I'm suggesting to the people of Cincinnati is that what type of success are you going to have with attacking these people that have nothing to do with this? And what I'm saying is that you got people down here who are literally encouraging kids to attack cops. You're encouraging the kids to attack cops, and they're using Emmett Till. They're using Martin Luther King to justify why these 14 and 15-year-old kids should be out here. These former students of mine. You see what I'm saying? I am imploring that before this pops and this gets bad, they throw a brick. They just threw a brick at the cop. It's wrong. I'm telling you, it's wrong. And I'm so nervous and I'm so scared for these kids. These are kids. There are kids around. There are kids across the street who live downtown in City West, and these people are out here encouraging them. And as an elder in the African American community, if any African American is encouraging these 14 and 15-year-old kids to be out here, they're wrong. That's wrong. These cops didn't do anything to George Floyd. This is wrong. I don't get how you see it. It's wrong. Thank you. And sorry for cussing.
It is wrong, and that's the titles is basically they're talking about white liberals, which will destroy another generation of black youth, are the ones that are encouraging them. I saw some other videos where some obviously white people wearing the Antifa garb going in and they're spraying painting on the black buildings, black owned buildings for shops that are saying Black Lives Matter. And then they're questioned by the black people. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? So their whole movement is really ridiculous, and people are seeing it for what it is. We're going to shift gears here a little bit. All right. So this is Inevitable ET. He put together this wonderful thread. Start here. And it goes through and talks about the Act of 1871. This is a critical act that was put in as an amendment to the Constitution. This amendment was to basically say that titles of nobility, could not be in the government. That meant attorneys could not be in the government. And this was a very big problem because this is how they ruled the world. Earlier, you're talking about the British at this point, right? And so it's the British Bar Association. And so they passed this amendment. That meant that no attorney could basically be in Congress. Now, what do we have right now? 99% everyone is an attorney and also graduate of the CIA farm. So it's been called insurrection, right? We've been invaded from within. So anyway, he goes through and he basically talks about this and really says that how it really was adopted, but how they basically tricked the people into saying, no, it never was ratified. But it was ratified, right? So the interesting thing, so he goes through and he talks about this, right? He talks about the difference between a republic and a democracy. And a democracy is just one step away from socialism, one step away from communism. That's the road. The republic is free, right here it says, free from things public. Now, when you think about public, what do you think about? So a lot of people say, well, that means anything outside, outdoors is public. That's not what it means. The real word would be corporate government is what public is. Anything that is in that, under the civil code, right? Anything that's put into these statutes, that is what is public. So republic is anything that is not public, free from those public things. Making private agreements between people. This is what I like about cryptocurrency, right? Is because it keeps us out of the public side, right? We say in the private side. And private does not mean secret. Private means between you and me, between you and you. If we come together in a group, it's between us. It's our agreement, how we want to work. This is our freedom in action. So going in, and I'm getting into this, and well, here's fun with flags. So we talk about the USA military flag, the USA civil flag, and the USA corporate flag, the gold fringe, which means maritime admiralty law, and that the flag's been captured for booty and pillage. So I love fun with flags, but let's see. So we're talking about governing body. So we're going through this just to kind of give an idea of what we're all talking about here. Again, talking about getting down into where we're talking about the sovereigns, right? The differences and what when you create this birth certificate entity and all this. So this gets a little heavy, right? But I'm getting to a point here, right? That's in this document, right? And you talk about electors and voters, right? Are you an elector or are you a voter? Are you voting for your manager in your McDonald's corporation and who you think would be the best manager for your team? Voter. Are you an elector or you come to assemble in a de jure government as a body of the people to say this is what the law is under the Constitution? The rest of it is not. It's just a business you can close down. Good to have something else as well. But all right, we're going to go on down, and we go through all of this. And in this, we get to where we actually discover that the original Constitution. Again, he's talking about the Constitutional Act of 1871. Still get into this. And we really get, into this. There's some Q posts here for, about the system, right? The pyramid structure and stuff of that nature, and everything else. What's going on? And I'm getting to where they actually start talking about. Is it here? Where is it? I'm searching for it. Oh, you know what? I just go to the next page because it links and comes over to here. It's probably one of the subthreads. So this is basically a timeline of the global takedown. So this is, what was really the white hat scenario, right? And following along on the events. And there's 2 pages here. I'm not going to go through all of this, but I want to point out this very last part down here. June 2019, President Trump will view and be briefed on the significance of the Sussex Declaration. What is that? So this is really what we're talking about here is a Declaration of Independence that was done on parchment, right? Which meant it was done on animal skin. It was a paper created from animal skin that will basically hold up, and it was discovered in England. And if you remember in our previous, this is going back into that time period of the middle of 2019. And I said, why is Trump in England? Why is there all this pomp and circumstance? What was he there to do? Why did he meet with the Queen? And look like that they signed something. I said, what was that? What was all? No one talked about what it was. And at the time I said, it has to do something with sovereignty, because it made sense that the realignment and some deal struck. Because, quite frankly, the UK was screwed from this Russian collusion to oust an American president. Leverage, and the master deal maker that Trump is, the art of the deal says he had some power plays to make. Could he have freed us from British rule? Whether it was going back to the 1600s Virginia Agreement and the land that was there, and how everything, all the states and colonies were really just possessions of the king, and the Declaration of Independence was, saying, hey, we're independent from you, and a war was fought. But why do we end up, paying money to the crown I think it was 20 years later, a dozen years later afterwards? If we won, why did we pay? And what was that for? Right? So very interesting, what our idea of history is and that, but we always consider ourselves to be free and independent of England. But was it legally really the case? Did Trump use this occasion to have a deal with England that we are actually independent? I have the feeling that's what happened. I can't really point to anything, but this came about. Now, this is a pretty long thread. We're not going to go through everything, but this was what I'm talking about here. They're toasting to this, right? Donald Trump was treated with lavish state banquet at Buckingham Palace last night, right? My friend in England, Richard, told me, he said, this was all thrown together all of a sudden. These things take years to put up sometimes, at least, months and months. He said, this was put together very hurriedly. In weeks, this was all put together. What was so important? So he viewed this Sussex Declaration, which is only the second one that has been found. There's one in the National Archives, and this is the other one. It's a Declaration of Independence. This says that all men are now sovereign. They are all kings. And he viewed this with the Queen. So I think that this really is goes towards this, and the significance of this is really talking about the independence of the individual, right? Okay, is the keystone that we were talking about in QAnon, right? Q's, sorry. So Q's, did I change that or did I go back? Sorry. I really didn't want to click on that. There we go. So the independence for every American citizen, right? So this is a wonderful thread to go through. You know, it's from an inevitable ET, or how I got to there, but then there's Bruno Barking, right? So you can find it June 5th, 2019. So I think it has something to do with our real freedom, right? So this is why I wanted to bring it up. Okay, so that being said, you know, this just goes into, you know, more about this parchment and how good it is. I think what we'll do is we're gonna close out here, but we're gonna end this on a speech that Trump gave that is, you know, I think worth going over at this time. Now it says Trump's speech that never made it to TV, but should have. So this is a recent post, but this is a speech that he gave a while back. I'd like to also thank everyone for coming over and meeting me on Parler. The link is down below. It's the first line. The rest of the information for Project Speak is down below. Speak Project. You can get there. There's also ability for you to donate via PayPal to it for the launch of the new news platform, United News Channel. So there's a lot going on. Please participate as much as you can, and we're making a move. So with this, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye, and I'm going to just end with this.
The political establishment will not do, no lie that they won't tell, to hold their prestige and power at your expense, and that's what's been happening. The Washington establishment and the financial and media corporations that fund it exist for only one reason: to protect and enrich itself. The establishment has trillions of dollars at stake in this election. As an example, just one single trade deal they'd like to pass involves trillions of dollars controlled by many countries, corporations, and lobbyists. For those who control the levers of power in Washington, and for the global special interests, they partner with these people that don't have your good in mind. Our campaign represents a true existential threat, like they haven't seen before. This is not simply another four-year election. This is a crossroads in the history of our civilization that will determine whether or not we, the people, reclaim control over our government. The political establishment that is trying to stop us is the same group responsible for our disastrous trade deals, massive illegal immigration, and economic and foreign policies that have bled our country dry. For them, it's war. And for them, nothing at all is out of bounds. This is a struggle for the survival of our nation. Believe me. This election will determine whether we're a free nation or whether we have only the illusion of democracy, but are in fact controlled by a small handful of global special interests rigging the system, and our system is rigged. This is reality. You know it, they know it, I know it, and pretty much the whole world knows it. The establishment and their media enablers wield control over this nation through means that are very well known. Anyone who challenges their control is deemed a sexist, a racist, a xenophobe, and morally deformed. They will attack you. They will slander you. They will seek to destroy your career and your family. They will seek to destroy everything about you, including your reputation. They will lie, 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 and then again, they will do worse than that. They will do whatever is necessary. The Clintons are criminals. Remember that. They're criminals. Our great civilization, here in America and across the civilized world, has come upon a moment of reckoning. We've seen it in the United Kingdom, where they voted to liberate themselves from global government and global trade deals and global immigration deals that have destroyed their sovereignty and have destroyed many of those nations. But the central base of world political power is right here in America. And it is our corrupt political establishment that is the greatest power behind the efforts at radical globalization and the disenfranchisement of working people. Their financial resources are virtually unlimited. Their political resources are unlimited. Their media resources are unmatched. And most importantly, the depths of their immorality is absolutely unlimited.
Well, I guess you can